Yes, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Officer Joyce Reyna.
Okay. And you want my name? Is that what you asked for?
Yes, please.
Okay. It is Kiana Clark.
Thank you. What's the name of the other party on your case? Party on the case.
Yes, as for the custodial and non-custodial, I have some questions regarding that. I'm the non-custodial parent.
Okay, let me pull up the case just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, I see where you've contacted us within the last 30 days. Is all your personal contact information still current?
Yes.
Is there any second phone number that you'd like to add today?
No.
Okay, who's your current employer?
Yes, I was told that I lost custody of my daughter. I'm lost my custodial rights.
Okay, how were you informed? Were you...
I was told that a long time ago. Multiple parties can't get their story straight. So I was hoping to get some help from you.
Okay, let me take a look.
Okay.
See what's in the order we've gotten.
Okay.
Maybe you're right. I don't see anything. Let me just double check the files. See if we've been provided any orders. Because typically, that is how rights would get terminated. It has to be, a court order that addresses that. So let me just check there.
Okay. Is it normal to spend all this time to research who the custodial parent is?
I'm sorry?
Is it normal to have to do that much investigation to find out who the custodial parent is? Or if my rights were terminated, rather?
Well, there would be a court order.
Oh, you had me waiting while you figured out who if my rights were terminated?
I'm checking the files to see if we've been informed.
Yeah, I'm just asking if it's normal for it to be that difficult to find the file.
Yes, ma'am, because the files just loaded, so I'm actually going through the files right now.
I'm just wanting clarity, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. The system does take a while to load these documents.
Okay, no problem.
Notified of any new orders. I just went through the files. I don't see we've received copies of any new orders.
New orders. I don't have understanding of what do you mean new orders.
For your rights to have been terminated, there would be a court order.
Okay.
So
do you see that I'm on supervision?
If your rights were terminated, and that then affects the court's order that was previously done, which was the child support order, we would have been informed.
Okay.
That's what I've been searching. If we've been informed, hey, there's this new order. If we've been given.
Okay, I have some questions. So, if there's no new order, would you have an order for me to be on supervised visits?
We have not been informed that there is new order. Now you can check.
Hold on, because I have a really hard time. Okay, so would you have been informed if I was placed on supervised visits?
We don't get informed regarding the visitation since we don't enforce that.
I asked if you would be informed. It's really hard because the people I call consistently keep covering for crimes. My question is, if I was placed on supervised visits, would you have been notified of that?
No, because it's not part of what we enforce.
Okay, so how would you know that my custody rights has changed if you wouldn't be notified that I was placed on supervised visits, and my custody rights has changed? And how would you know of that?
Unless we were informed by the other party that there's been a change, either them or their attorney, that there's been any change that affects.
Okay, I'm not understanding because at first you said the court would notify you, then the court won't notify you of supervised visits.
No, ma'am. I did not say the court will notify us.
Okay, so if my rights were terminated, the court would notify you?
No. We would only have notice either by an attorney or the other parent if these new court orders... Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm pressed for time. Ma'am. So if the court terminated my child custody rights, you wouldn't know about it?
Not unless we were given the court order that affects your
Okay,
child.
so I'm just curious, ma'am. So if my child custody rights were terminated and you would know about it, so I'm told that my child custody rights were terminated in the state of Texas. If your child custody rights were terminated, you don't pay child support.
Not necessarily. It's a private order. There can still be orders in which you still pay or current support with no rights, or still pay the balance.
I mean, I don't mind paying the child support. I'm just trying to catch people in their criminal activity because people have been committing crimes a long time. So I'm trying to expose that criminal activity is going on to sabotage my rights as a parent. So you're the child support attorney general, and you will not have access to what is going on. I'm trying to establish that multiple parties are conspiring together to hinder my child custody rights out of criminal activity. Multiple. So whoever I'm talking to on this phone and multiple other parties that I call on my phone and in person as well. So you're saying that the court will not notify you, maybe the attorney or maybe the parent will let you know if child custody rights were terminated. That's what you're saying?
It's only if it affects the court order for child support, ma'am.
Okay, so the attorney general is not affected. The attorney general is not, the court does not give the attorney general information on if a parent's child custody rights were terminated.
Correct.
Okay. So if my child custody rights are being sabotaged out of criminal activity and I'm not getting visitation that the court set up out of corruption, who do I talk to about that? Because I called the visitation line and they kept hanging up in my face and playing games.
You would need to seek legal advice from a private attorney because you would want to pursue enforcement on visitation.
Well, here's the thing. I just did repeat that multiple parties were committing crimes. And how would I get legal representation? Because my legal representation is denied. So if a party is not adhering to child custody rights, multiple parties in the police, the court, CPS, are you just saying that I have to just sit in it because no one will abide by the law? And my daughter has been in an abusive situation in the past?
Legal advice, which means an attorney.
Well, that's sabotaged. I don't have access to attorneys. They play games. But I'm trying to figure out why the government isn't taking responsibility for abiding by the law.
You would be then having to seek other sources that provide legal advice or legal assistance. Possibly Texas Legal Aid, that is the source.
Okay, so if the court's committing crimes, CPS is committing crimes, and the police, you're telling me to go to legal aid? Who would I report it to, ma'am? And this is Attorney General.
We're not an attorney that represents you or the other parent.
Well, you're saying that, okay,
on the visitation.
Okay, so you're saying that the court does not have to give you information if my child custody rights were terminated. You don't have that in the file. Is that you're saying that? And it's the parents. You're saying it's the parent's responsibility or the attorney to notify the attorney general that child custody rights were terminated. It's not the court's responsibility.
Correct. If it affects the child support order, remember, only if it actually affects the order for payment.
It would affect the order if a person's rights were terminated.
Not necessarily, ma'am. No.
Okay, I thought in the state of Texas, if child custody rights were terminated, that you did not have to pay child support. Like I said, I don't mind paying the child support. I'm just trying to expose criminal activity. So if my rights were terminated, I don't know why you would talk over me, man, when there's such insanity. If my rights were terminated, then I shouldn't be paying child support. But there's multiple crimes and cover-up going on, and I'm intentionally trying to expose those. But it's so many parties everywhere I go covering for crimes, they make it very difficult. And they lie to me. So it's hard for me to get education on what I need to do. I would call the visitation and access line, but they keep hanging up on me and covering for crimes as well. And when I went in person, they were doing the same thing. And calling security and the police to enforce their criminal activity. Okay. So charges are really racking up, ma'am. Is that amazing to you?
What I'm trying to guide you is...
I don't know why that's not amazing to you. Why is my experience not amazing to anyone I call, man? They have no compassion with my experiences. Multiple people I call on my phone, they're never amazed. That's not amazing to you. CPS,
Guidance.
the court, the police, and multiple parties were covering for crimes to sabotage my rights as a parent. That doesn't shock you?
As I mentioned, that's something you'd have to get more legal advice on to pursue any further enforcement on that.
Yeah, I have such a hard time, ma'am, getting anything resolved for years. So here's another question, ma'am. If I'm paying child support, do you see on the other case that the other parent where he's behind like almost $30,000? Why are they making me pay interest?
Both cases are completely irrelevant from each other. Your case, your monthly support, and your balance is irrelevant on any arrears that he may owe you.
I'm not quite sure what you're speaking of because they were supposed to be getting the balance from the arrearage. They were supposed to be getting my child support payments from the arrearage. So she's muted. I'm giving my credit card information and all this stuff to people that are covering for crimes.
For his balance?
I'm sorry?
You're receiving, on the case where you're the custodial parent, where you are receiving payments for his past due balance that he still owes you. On this case, you're receiving consistent payments, and we're also applying interest to him on the outstanding balance.
Right, but I have another account to where I'm getting applied interest, and I wanted that corrected.
It can't be corrected because you have a balance.
How can I have a balance and there's a arrearage that they're supposed to be taking?